Glad that you're here on our little success story show for Beyond Physio podcast. Happy, can you tell us about your activity level? Because you're part of the F3 community. In
Mhm.
fact, you're an OG and you have done a lot. I want to know about what your activity life was like
Mm.
before we met you.
Sure. No, thanks for having me. This is
Oh, yeah.
great. Hardly an OG by any means. I've been part of the F3 community for almost 5 years. So I think
Yeah.
that puts me in like the middle of things. But to answer your question directly, before F3 for a large period of time, I was pretty sedentary.
Oh,
Didn't have a lot of activity.
really?
I was really active in my teens, in my 20s, even into my early 30s. But I had a couple things that kind of derailed me from that. And of course, life gets in the way,
Of
kids and
course.
so on.
Yeah.
So I'd actually, gained a pretty decent amount of weight and all that
Really?
stuff. So yeah, I was pretty inactive. And not long before after we moved here in 2019 is when I met the F3
Yeah.
group, the family, and that's when I really started to get active. Mid 2019. It's been
It's amazing.
downhill ever since.
I thought you also had like maybe a powerlifting background, maybe.
Yeah, when I was younger.
Oh, younger.
So
Yeah.
when I got done, I was an athlete in high school. I
Yeah.
played football, baseball, amongst other things, and that kind of transitioned into powerlifting. And when I was back in Michigan, into my like early 20s, mid 20s, I was working with some pretty intense guys, and I started having kind of the aches and pains that go along with that. But at the same time, was just getting the early phases of my career, so that started to slow down a little bit. And then
Yeah.
I just caught that rut where you do a little bit here and a little bit there, but you never really stay disciplined in your focus. And I tried to train for some half marathons and things like that in my late 20s and early 30s, but it all just went away after that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So now, before we move on, I do want to share with our audience
Mhm.
just the nature of what F3 is about because it's been a really great community for me coming down to North
Sure.
Carolina. I've met some really super high quality guys, men out there
Yeah.
who are family men too, and who are super active like myself. And so I felt like I finally found a community where it's, wow, I belong with these guys.
Yeah. So F3 is a blessing. And for those that don't know, F3 is a male workout group that was basically built on some simple principles, right? We call it the cure for middle-aged male loneliness, right? Men
Like that.
are by nature a group of individuals that need community and need the tribe around them historically. If you go
I
back to our
believe
roots
that.
and so on,
Yeah.
and we found they call it the sad clown syndrome. People walking through life. I was one of those
Mm,
that kind of fall into those ruts, and your community is defined by your children or your husband, wife, or partner relationship and what that looks like, and less about doing things together as a group.
yeah.
So F3 stands for fitness, fellowship, and faith. And it's founded in those principles of bringing men together for the invigoration of male community leadership through health and fitness.
Mm,
Right. So that's the first F, which
I
is the
love that.
fitness part of what we
Yeah.
do. And you're right, spot on. It's number one for somebody who is relatively new to the Cary, North Carolina area to meet a community of just tremendous like-minded people that were driven to be healthy, held people accountable in really positive ways of life, being
Yeah.
good parents
Yeah.
and good community leaders and so on has been an absolute blessing. So I agree with you 100%.
Yeah, it's funny because I think that in life we tend to overlook the fact, and you mentioned this, where men really do need community,
Hmm.
and suicide rates are out of control,
Yes.
and a lot of men do commit suicide.
Hmm.
And I found that a community like this, where you have a healthy group of men helping other guys also have that camaraderie, which I think we all thrive, or how we all thrive. But I think what we all miss out on sometimes, especially if we've had, say, high school or college sports, we've had our sort of group and whatnot. And I think when you're in the workforce, it becomes different and your
Hmm.
responsibilities change and whatnot, your needs change. But having a community that you can rely on for that accountability, for that other camaraderie, other area of growth, I think that we all need as men
Yeah.
emotionally, I think is really invaluable.
For sure. And one of the sayings we like to throw around is we won't leave any man behind, but we
Yeah.
certainly won't leave you where we found you.
Mm,
It's the principle of bringing people up and pushing you to just be better in all phases of life from both fitness, but as a family leader, but also a member of the community, because we
yeah.
obviously we do a lot of
A lot of
community-based
things.
outreach
I
too.
love
So
that. Yeah.
I completely agree. It's a lot of people find that in their church circles and things like this adds a couple other elements. Of course, we're a faithful-based organization as well, but we welcome all faiths.
Yes.
And I think it's one of the beautiful things about it is a lot of the people you get to know are from such diverse backgrounds from all levels of like senior executive type
Yeah.
leadership all the way down to just people that work normal jobs and are entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
So it's really unique and it's been a tremendous blessing.
Yeah, I've never felt a group so inclusive in a while, and that's been really cool about that. And
Yeah.
like you said, very diverse group of guys, all different backgrounds, and that's been really cool.
Yeah.